What I'd like to say to people watching this video: stop being fucking lazy. Use push to talk.
Welcome on in, everybody. My name's ADJMass, here with my buddy RickLovesBacon, and this is going to be episode 2 on our video series on streamer etiquette. You're streaming wrong. This topic will be about using push to talk when streaming with friends and other broadcasters.
You know what? If anybody thinks that they're being called out by this video, you probably are. Because I don't know how many times I've been to people's streams and somebody will tell me, hey, I was watching so-and-so, but they're broadcasting with somebody that's not using push to talk while they're broadcasting. So it's just kind of like I can't watch them. Like when they play with this certain person, I can't watch them. And you can actually see, you'll go into their channel and you can actually see their numbers drop from what they normally are.
Rick and I wanted to create this video to talk about push to talk and streaming and how push to talk and streaming should be used in conjunction. We'll have some tips, some tricks, some need to knows. There won't be so many tips and tricks in this video just because this is what's seen from the viewer's side when not using push to talk. So Rick, when you go into a streamer's channel and they're streaming with friends or other broadcasters and the streamer or the people they're streaming with are not using push to talk, what about that annoys you?
I think what annoys me the most about that is the sensory overload. There is too many things to keep track of. You got the broadcaster's voice, you have the person that's streaming on their channel, plus on top of that you have video game sounds, and some broadcasters have music. There are too many things to focus on, and sometimes the people that are broadcasting on another channel are actually louder than the broadcaster that I'm watching.
I see this in a lot of Among Us streams where it comes time for the meeting and it's just chaos. It's sensory overload. Really, you're watching a stream for a streamer, essentially, and then it comes time for a team meeting and there are 10 people talking at once, along with some game sounds, and if the streamer has music, along with taking in the visual aspect of it. That's just so much going on at one time. It's too much for me and I can't watch it.
So one tip that I would have to give to broadcasters is you're broadcasting. Your job is to multitask. You're multitasking as a broadcaster, monitoring yourself. If you're not, you should be. Monitoring chat, playing the game, monitoring your broadcasting software. You should learn to use push to talk. Don't use push to mute, because if you're talking to your stream properly, you're not actually going to be talking to the people you're playing with more. You should be talking more to your chat. So push to talk is more important than push to mute. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I think that's situational, for sure. I definitely see push to talk is more in the wide variety of games is more appropriate. The push to talk is because typically when I'm streaming with other broadcasters, it's a first person shooter or something co-op where it's not needed to talk to each other very often, but you still want the banter every once in a while, so you can unmute. But in a game, so say you and I hopped into a game of, let's call it Hunt Showdown. Majority of the time we don't need to be making call outs to each other and we can focus on chat because we're running to the next objective or whatever, right? I see a push to talk in that situation being better because you're gonna only talk every so often, right? Like maybe every couple minutes you'll talk and converse with the other person, so it's just easier to push to talk. I can see situations where having an open mic is fine, but that would be at the levels of a chat that's too big to keep up with. It's not so much you communicating with chat as much it is communicating with the people you are playing with.
Well, yeah, it's almost like people are watching a podcast or somebody's recording a podcast. You know, you're not. It's a production. You're not actually communicating with chat. And then you and I have done things in the past where we're not communicating with chat, and we've made chat fully aware. Okay, we're gonna be live, but we're not gonna be talking to you because we're doing something as a project or a stunt or whatever we were doing at the time. But yeah, those were like perfect times where I guess push to mute would be easier to use.
Say you and I were going to play this one game. We created a bunch of buzz around it, and the game needed us to be like, say, take D&D for example. If you and I were to start a D&D campaign, and have to run through story and act out story, push to mute would be much better in that situation, because at that point you're not interacting with the chat. The chat is there to watch a production, where when two casters are playing together and just playing a game and streaming, and then both of those casters are very involved with their chat and their communities, talking with them, responding to questions, stuff like that, or responding to alerts, the other stream becomes distracted with the other stream that's going on, because they hear the stream, they just don't see the stream, right? Like, stream number one hears stream number two, but is not watching stream number two. They just get all of the communication from it.
One thing I've noticed too when watching broadcasters stream with somebody that's not using push to talk is that the broadcaster you're watching sometimes gets distracted because the other person's talking over them, reacting to what's going on their stream, which kind of leaves that broadcaster you're watching just sit there and kind of like, and you can see it in their face. I think push to talk should be more used on, because if the broadcaster is doing their job properly, they're going to be talking to their chat more than they are to the people they're playing the game with. And for me, like, one thing that I use as an example for push to talk is that I buy a mouse that has a button right in the thumb position where I can easily toggle it. And I've come from a background of playing tactical video games where voice communication is key, but also what they call tactical comms is key, which means you gotta be quiet. So that's why for me it's a whole lot easier, and I get people struggle with using push to talk, but I think they should really learn to use it, because it's going to bring the overall quality of their stream and the people that they're broadcasting with stream as well.
And there's also cheap little like $2 to $5 foot pedals that are USB that you can plug into your computer, and that is essentially a switch that you can toggle for push to talk, right? So you push it down to talk, lift up to stop talking.
I know one thing, like, let's say if you do decide to play with somebody that's not using push to talk and doesn't want to use push to talk, what I like to do is I have my audio routed in a complicated way, and I'm not going to show you how to do that. You can figure that out on your own. But I have it to where I can mute Discord to my stream. That way, you're not hearing what the other person is saying.
Right, and that could be like an exception to what we're talking about, right? If you don't want to use push to talk, or the people you don't want to play with don't want to use push to talk or whatever, that's an option, right? Like, you can invest in software or hardware to mute Discord to the stream.
Another tip, you could tell them to go to push to talk.
The free version is go to push to talk.
The free version is tell your friend to go use push to talk.
Discord makes it easy and is like, hey, you can set a keybind for push to talk and push to mute. So the way I do it is I use push to mute, but I use push to mute on my mixer. So my mixer has an option where I can mute my microphone to Discord and keep it live on stream. So when I'm not saying anything to the people I'm playing with, I mute my microphone to Discord, and then stream can still hear my microphone. And I too have the same way of If somebody I'm playing with doesn't have push to talk enabled, I have a button that I can mute Discord to stream. Because I've played many games with many people, I'm here to take my own advice as well, where the people I'm playing with aren't using push to talk, and there's so much communication going on that when I'm trying to say something and then I hear somebody's like, hey, such and such, thanks for following the channel, come into my head while I'm talking about something, I get distracted and I get a little frustrated sometimes because I'm trying to talk and then I get derailed.
It kind of goes the same way for the people that you're playing video games with. If you're playing a multiplayer game with people, be considerate of them as well. Like, use push to talk, because yes, you're streaming, but people also want to do well in video games. And the last thing that the people that you're playing with need to hear is you talking to your chat while they're actually trying to play the game along with you. So also try to be considerate about that.
Yeah, because you don't want to be playing. Think of any first-person shooter game you've ever played with random people, and the little squeaker comes in to the chat and is like, say you're playing one-on-one with somebody against somebody right now, and he's just right, like he's just making obnoxious noises. What do? You go into the game settings and you mute them because they're annoying. It's kind of the same situation, right?
And I've seen people do this in video games where they feel a little entitled because they're streaming. They're like, hey, they'll go into a game where there's duos and voice comms, and they're like, hey, I'm streaming, so I'm gonna be open mic. You're gonna have to be okay with that. I'm sorry, but you're not special. Learn to use the buttons.
Most games with voice communications have a push to talk option, so
you'd be surprised how many people I see turn off that go to voice activation.
And see, it's back to a consideration thing, right? You shouldn't have to be playing a game and have some like you're playing with random people and have a random streamer come in and be like, hey, by the way, I'm taking over your lobby with my voice. I'm going to be talking. You're going to have to deal with it. My way of dealing with it is I'm going to mute you instantly.
Or leave the lobby. And now you're going to have a dead game because nobody wants to play with you. But you'd be surprised. I've seen that happen quite a bit where it's like, oh, I'm streaming, so I don't want to use push to talk because I can't be bothered. You're not special. Use push to talk. Be considerate of others. Okay. Again, everybody, thanks again for watching. I'm RickLovesBacon with my buddy ADJMass. Make sure to follow us on all the social medias. Everything is at RickLovesBacon for me, and then everything is at ADJMass, ADJMass. So follow us on Twitch and check us out when we're live if you want to talk about these topics on today's video or any other ideas that you have.
If you found this discussion helpful, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below and check out our next video that will be uploaded on my channel.
Looks like I'm losing my goddamn mind.